and going into detail in this book first, Cashflow Quadrant. And then secondly, I would recommend this book. These two books changed my life as far as my belief in how to make money and how to get security and how to have money for retirement and how to travel using online income. We're doing a review of Cashflow Quadrant and how to be financially free by joining the ranks of business people and investors. This book was written for those who want to change from the employee or self-employed side of the quadrant to the business person and the investor side of the quadrant, where you make a lot more money and you take some more risk also in some ways than as an employee. Many of us, we like security. Like myself, I was a teacher for years, for 20 years, and it's a very secure type of income. You teach and you get a regular salary. But there's a lot of benefits to going to the other side of the quadrant, and so that's what we're going to be talking about here. This is the direction that I'm going in. Next LS, I'll be doing some information on this book. I just want to give you a real short rundown of this book. This one is called The 4-Hour Work Week by Timothy Ferriss. He says, escape the 9 to 5, live anywhere, and join the new rich. So this book informs you about how to develop your own websites online and how to get online income. So I would recommend reading this book. Okay, I'd like to read you a few quotes here. This one is, man is born free, and everywhere he is in chains. One thinks himself the master of others and still remains a greater slave than they. So actually, we were all born free. When we come out of the womb, we were free. But then, because we live in certain countries and under certain jurisdictions, there are many laws, many policies. There are educational systems. There are church systems. There are governmental systems. There are so many systems and so many rules, regulations, and policies that what we started out as free, we eventually wind up in chains. Also, there's many mental chains that we put on ourselves that come from our culture or our peer group or those around us, our peers, from our environment. And so we have these many restrictions and chains on us. So this book is about financial freedom, and it's one of the most important freedoms, because without financial freedom, we can hardly enjoy any of the other freedoms. Another quote, my rich dad used to say, you can never have true freedom without financial freedom. And I think that's very true. We can't have true freedom without financial freedom. He would go on to say, freedom may be free, but it has a price. This book is dedicated to those people willing to pay the price, meaning willing to pay the price of economic freedom. And that price also has to do with education. We have to become financially literate and understand how business and how investment works and how to be successful, how to take the steps to be successful in business and successful in our investments. Number 2, so it asks us, which quadrant are you in? Is it the right one for you? So I'm going to draw the quadrants on the board here. So when we went to school, we started at an early age, and most of our parents were employees. Maybe they were teachers, maybe they worked in the government, maybe they worked in somebody's shop or somebody's office or somebody's factory or somebody else's business. And so they were classed as an employee. The interesting thing about employee is it has the highest tax rate. We pay the most taxes when we're in the E. In the S group, that is self-employed, and that's when you work for yourself, like you're a doctor or a dentist or a lawyer. The pay is quite high per hour, but you only get paid by the hour. As soon as you stop working, there is no income. Both of these, the E, employee, and S, the self-employed, trade their time for money. Whereas this side, B for business, I for investment, these continue to make money even if you take time off. Your business keeps running. You may have a manager, you may have employees, you may have accountants, you may have representatives and agents, and all of them keep working and keep your business running for you if they're trained properly. With investments, there's many kind of investments. They also, when you're asleep, when you're awake, when you're at your work or you're away from your work, they continue working for you. So both of these, the B and the I, make money for you while you're sleeping, while you're not there. Whereas these, you have to be there. You're paid by the hour, by the job, and it requires a trade of your time for money. And actually, the greatest asset we have is time. Even more valuable than money is our time, because when our time runs out, we can't make any more money, right? We're finished. It's over. Game over, so to speak. So time is actually our most important asset. And over here, we're always trading our time for money. Another interesting thing is we over here are building somebody else's dream. We are building somebody else's business on this side. We're not building our own business. We're not building our own dream. We're building somebody else's dream by being their employee every day for 8, 9, 10 hours or whatever. We are working on building and sustaining and maintaining their dream, their income. Whereas over here, for business, you can build your own dream. You can use your time. It will take a lot of time in the beginning to build your own dream, but it is working on and building your own dream. And when it's set up, it will continue to run, continue to operate, continue to make income for you. And you don't always have to trade your time for money. It will continue to make income for you even when you're not physically present or physically, mentally working on it, because you have employees or you have systems. If it's an online business and you set it up online, like the 4-hour work week teaches us how to do, it will continue to make income for us. So let me read some more quotes here. Yes, it's true. Frijanka is very true. We were trained to be employees. We were trained to work for somebody else. We were trained to build somebody else's dream by the school system, by the media, by the companies that we worked for. We were taught to first get a good education, next get a degree, next get a good job, and finally get a pension from that so we can live in our older age. But as we know, a lot of companies go bankrupt. Some companies don't fulfill their promises. Some companies have no pension and they want you to be a contract worker. So they have a lot of escapes. The business and the investments have a lot of ways. They also pay less tax. Businesses pay less tax and investments pay less tax. One of the richest men in the world, Warren Buffett, he said his secretary pays a much higher percentage of taxes than he does, even though he's maybe 4th or 5th richest in the whole world, 4th or 5th richest person, depending each year. It fluctuates with Bill Gates and other billionaires. He pays much less, a much lower percentage of taxes. So this game, this monopoly game that we were born into in the world economic system, the globalized banking and corporate world that we were born into, the game is loaded on this side where you get the benefits, and on this side you sweat, you work, and you make somebody else rich. So we should have been taught this in school. This should have been taught from, say, third grade up or second grade up. By the time we're 8, 9, 10 years old, we should have been studying this chart on how to make income, since it's such an important part of our life. We spend most of our productive life and our time and our energy building somebody else's dream so that we may partake of the fruits of financial freedom. Yeah, it's stacked. The game is stacked to get that it's a lot better, and the benefits are much higher over on this side. The taxes are much lower. There's a lot of deductions over here. Everything you do, your phone bill, your car, your fuel, if it's business related, you deduct it from your taxes. So over here, we don't have those kind of deductions, and we have a higher tax rate. So this is about financial education that we did not receive in the school system. And you could debate, why is it we didn't learn this in school? And you could get into a long debate about why financial education is not taught in the school system. But basically, a summary of this is that our school system is based on the Prussian or German system, which came about 100, 150 years ago to 200 years ago in Germany. It was developed to train factory workers and office workers to work during the industrial age, when the world was changing from an agricultural society to a mechanized society. When they developed all these machines to do much of the work for us, they needed many, many people to work in the factories, in the offices. So our school system is designed to make factory workers and office workers, not to develop critical thinking skills, not to develop financial independence, not to develop business people and investors. So we're still following a 150 or 200-year-old school system that makes us servants to other people's businesses and investments. So what I'm talking about is financial freedom, financial education, and how to step by step, taking baby steps, move over to the better side of the cash flow quadrant. Yeah, good, right? It's good for us. Yes, very interesting. Thank you, Zaldi's channel. I thought so too. And I want to tell you, even though we read this, even though we understand this intellectually, it requires a mental effort to change from this side, an employee mindset or a self-employed mindset, to a business person, investor mindset. It takes quite a bit of education to grasp the idea, and it takes quite a bit of motivation and preparation to make the steps in this direction. We have a lot of resistance internally because we have been trained for so many years to be an employee or a small self-employed person and not to be a business person, investor. That's why we're always working paycheck to paycheck, right? Just enough money to live to the end of the month, not much left over, not much savings. Just buy a new product, consume and buy and use up your money and have nothing left at the end of the month, and then get your paycheck. This is how we've been trained by the media as well as by the educational system, to be employees and to be consumers. And we're very good at being a good employee and a good consumer. But what I'm saying is, let's educate ourselves and move toward the better side of the cash flow quadrant. So we have to take baby steps. First, get out of debt, start saving money, start educating ourselves about how to start a business, how to invest, how to get financial freedom. These are the very first steps. Yeah, we can't get financial freedom when we're in crushing debt or when we don't know how to save our money. In other words, as soon as we get money, we run out and spend it all on consumer items like new TVs and new cameras and new things that don't really bring in income for us. These are all liabilities. We need to learn to invest in assets, in income producing assets. Income producing assets can be described very simply as anything that puts money in your pocket. Does that new TV put income in your pocket? No, of course not. It took money out of your pocket. How about that new car? Does it put income in your pocket? No, of course not. You have to pay on it. You have to pay insurance. You have to pay car payments. You have to register it. You have to get safety inspections. It's always taking money out of your pocket. It's not an asset, it is a liability. How about if you invest in a rental? You buy a rental and you rent it out to people. You get $300 or $500 a month coming in. Yes, that is an asset. Maybe you have to pay $300 a month on that, but you get 500 in rent. So 500 minus 300, you have $200 a month coming in. That is an asset. It puts money into your pocket. So we need to think about building assets. That's really what business is, and that's what an investment is they both bring money into your pocket. Whereas a house that you live in, does it bring money in? If you're not renting it, it's taking money out of your pocket. Same with a new car, same with a speedboat or any type of sports equipment or toys. All of these things that take money out of our pocket. And I know because I'm a consumer also. I'm an employee I was an employee for many years, and I was also self-employed before that and after that. And I know what it's like, the mindset of employee and self-employed and consumer, because that's what I am. That's what I have. But I'm learning a new mindset, new way of thinking, which is a business person and an investor on the right-hand side. And I'm sharing it with you as I learn about it. Share as I learn. That's all this is. Okay, so let's go over the 7 steps to learn about the 7 steps to finding your financial fast track. Robert Kiyosaki said it took him about 4 to 5 years for him and his wife to go from homeless to being rich. And these are the 7 steps that Rich Dad taught him. These are the 7 steps that he and his wife followed to go from being homeless and sleeping in their car in Hawaii, in America, to being rich and to having financial freedom. So let's follow their steps and see if we can learn from them how to become financially free. Okay, in summary, these are the 7 steps my wife and I used to move from being homeless to being financially free in a few short years. These 7 steps helped us find our own financial fast track, and we continue to use them today. I trust they can assist you in charting your own course to financial freedom. And I'd like to welcome any of you to my channel. I'll be doing more live streams. My channel, as you know, has become location independent, where I teach people about how to find work from home, how to be a digital nomad, and ultimately how to become location independent as me and my family learn how to do this ourselves. Learn by doing. That is my phrase, my motto, learn by doing. Read about it, learn about it, and then take action. Take small steps in that direction until you are confident, until we are educated about it, until we are knowledgeable and secure in it. It takes time, and it also takes action. So like in the Bible, it says by faith and works, right? We're saved by faith, but faith without works is nothing. It is empty. So it requires both faith, and then it requires works. So in financial terms, we would call that it requires action, it requires baby steps, getting out of debt first, saving money secondly, uh, educating ourselves third about financial literacy and how to get financial freedom through developing a business and using excess income to invest and to buy and acquire assets, income producing assets that bring income into our pockets. And as we have income in our pockets from passive types of assets that don't require a lot of our time and energy, once they are set up, they continue to bring assets to us month after month. We own our own time, and time is one of our, if not our most valuable asset. Time, when we have time and we own our own time, we're not trading our time for money, working for somebody else. We can use that time to do the things that we love. We can use that time to be with our family, to raise our children, to be with our loved ones, to be with our friends. We can use that time to develop good causes, to help other people, to take care of the environment, to take care of our own health. Many people have physical and mental issues now. These are all very important priorities that are very difficult to attend to when we're always out chasing money and a salary and getting enough money to take care of our most basic needs for food and shelter and clothing and all the other things that we need in this global economic system. So the idea is get financial freedom and get freedom of time and do the things that you love and help those around you. That's the basic idea. So I wish you all the best. I hope that you can be successful in your endeavors, and you can, if you want, take steps to move from the left side to the right side of the cash flow quadrant, to go from being an employee or a self-employed person to a business person, and then as you accrue assets and you gain money, that you can invest that money to get passive income. Thank you so much for joining me. This is my summary of the book Cashflow Quadrant by Robert Kiyosaki. There's more details in the book. I highly recommend you get this book and spend some time into it. You can go on Amazon or one of the other bookstores.